been drifting, I keep falling off the deep end. I've been slipping, losing grip of myself. I feel different, I keep falling off the world's edge. I'll never sleep no more, I'll never sleep no more. I've been drifting, I keep falling off the deep end. I've been slipping, losing grip of myself. I feel distant, I keep falling off the world's edge. I'll never sleep no more, I'll never sleep no more. Fuck a silver lining, I just wanna feel right again. I just really wanna feel how I felt back then, when it felt real, so real, yeah. When I wake at 5 a.m., I don't really wanna fight again. I just really wanna feel her skin on my skin, her breath on my neck. I've been drifting, I keep falling off the deep end. I've been slipping, losing grip of myself. I feel different, I keep falling off the world's edge. I'll never sleep no more, I'll never sleep no more. I've been drifting, I keep falling off the deep end. I've been slipping, losing grip of myself. I feel distant, I keep falling off the world's edge. I'll never sleep no more, I'll never sleep no more. I've been dealing with the pressure, all the pressure in my head every day. When I wake up feeling dead, I'll never say what I'm thinking in my head. I've been spending every day dwelling over my death, dealing with the pressure, all the pressure in my life, compression in my mind run down my spine. I don't always dare do what I know is right. There's some people in my life, we should probably sever ties, dealing with the pressure. I don't need a fucking lecture, I just need to try and hold my conjecture. Fuck your nice gesture, I know after everything I've been through, I'ma be a better man, no lesser, for dealing with the pressure. Through the world, through my crooked lines. Tell me what you find. Look in the white of my eyes when you're spilling your lies. It's fine, I'm high. I wanna talk about money, I wanna talk about money, I wanna talk about. It's fine, I'm high. I wanna talk about, I wanna talk about white in my eyes when you're spilling your lies. It's fine, I'm high. I wanna talk about money, I wanna talk about money, I wanna talk about. It's fine, I'm high. I wanna talk about, I wanna talk about. Trapped in my head, run from infinite thought. When I was young, I would run for the cops. Fearing and death, I just run for the loss. Downside, my corrupted mind. Search every corner where the demons hide. I don't even know what you're trying to find, what you're trying to find. This fucked up life of mine. I'm down low like a landmine. I'm down to my landmine. Every single day I'm sky high. Look in the white of my eyes when you're spilling your lies. It's fine, I'm high. I wanna talk about money, I wanna talk about money, I wanna talk about. It's fine, I'm high. I wanna talk about, I wanna talk about white in my eyes when you're spilling your lies. It's fine, I'm high. I wanna talk about money, I wanna talk about money, I wanna talk about. It's fine, I'm high. I
Yo, yo, happy Wednesday. What's up, Mike? What's up, Daniel? Yes, sir, and Dorian. Nice to see you guys all here. You guys at this point are my regulars. Appreciate having you here. Yeah, I was going to keep today quick, partially because on Monday I said that nothing has really changed. One thing I will discuss with the SPX, we did reject resistance. No, that doesn't mean that we're bearish. No, that doesn't mean we're going down to 3,200. Or whatever all these doom and gloom people are saying. You should never really be bullish going into resistance, just like you should never be bearish going into support. Like I said, I mean, either scenario, whether we bounce and maybe make a larger bear flag, have some recovery there and continue, or just move sideways and go up. Either way, this is still a very bullish structure. There's really nothing that says otherwise. There's no divergence, no weakness, no nothing. So for now, I'm still remaining bullish, still the macro bullish. Again, you guys have to remember, and not necessarily you guys, a lot of you guys that are my like long-term viewers, you kind of understand my mindset. When I say bullish, like macro bullish, meaning we're not going to put in a lower low. Now, does that mean time frame specific like the 4 hour? Am I bearish on the 4 hour? Probably. Could we go all the way down to 4,300 and retest? I think that's a possibility. Either way, I don't trade stocks day to day. I'm not a day trader, so for me, I just look at the larger structure on the daily and weekly, kind of move from there. I'm still expecting this to break all-time highs. What's up, Sam? How's it going, man? Nice to see you too. Moving forward. So I wanted to look at the VIX today. I thought this was kind of interesting, I guess. We had this trend line drawn from, I guess, last year when I used to live stream. But if we just do something like this, I don't know. I just thought it was interesting. We're kind of bottoming, and I'd like to see what happens when we kind of hit that like 8% range. So let's see. So for those of you that don't know, usually your bear market bottoms are marked by this. That's why 2020, 2008, 2015 and 2018, all of this obviously major recession, obviously a major black swan event. These were what's called a mini recession. I believe 2012 there was some little bit of a correction after the rise from 2009 2010. So again, something like that. I'd love to maybe take a look at this today and see if we can come up with any conclusions. So 2021. What is this, June 2021? Let's take a look at June 2021. June 2021, we were still on the rise. Let's take a look at December 2021. That was initially the top, right? So let's see, December 2021. That would be up here. I guess we're at like a near bottom, but we're not. Yeah, like what I'm trying to say is if this hits this 12, and we'll just draw like a little line. If this hits this white line, is the market topping, or are we in some kind of like we need to pull back, right? So let's look at like 2008. I believe that's, let me get the right month of when we kind of topped. So you have October 2007, obviously a nice clean double top there. And then again in July of 2000. So October and July. Go October 2008 first, and then we'll look at July of 2000. So October 2008. Excuse me, I got to sneeze. False alarm. Okay, so October 2008. Let's see what happened. There's April, September. Weird, right? Looks like we actually, no, we'd be here. So we actually peaked. That's so weird to me. I know you can put these in a side-by-side comparison, but just for my own sake. Oh, excuse me, October 2007. So October 2007, let's see what happened. So we're right about here. I mean, we're not even close to this level, right? October 2007's there. We're not even close to the level. So I'll look into this more on my own, but I was just curious to see let's say the VIX continues to go down here. Does that mean that we're going to see some larger correction is what I was trying to provide? Because it's really interesting, right? The VIX is very, very low. Usually what marks a recessive bottom, at least for the VIX, is, hitting this area. We were close in 2022. For those who don't know, like the market top was in January 2022, or at least I believe the bottom. No. The bottom was January 2023. Let's see. Let's get the exact month here. So October 2022. So we're close, right? So we spiked up. I don't think that's enough. I think it's close. If you look at other corrections, we still spiked a decent bit, but not quite there yet. What zone am I interested in buying Bitcoin for the long term? I already bought all of my DCA. When I get to Bitcoin, I'll give it a little bit more of a description. I was just trying to experiment with this, and I'm going to have to do it more on my own. I believe, does anyone know the button for TradingView where I can do the side-by-side comparison? Just look it up real quick. I know it's like control something. TradingView. How to overlay charts on TradingView. Click the compare add symbol plus sign. Okay. I always forget. Let's do SPX. Okay. There we go. That's a little better. Okay, so my whole point is, like, with the VIX, you essentially bottom on these large peaks. I'm actually going to remove this so it's a little bit more clear. So yeah, you essentially bottom when you hit those peaks. Let's see if we can. Oh, it's really not going to let me do that. Okay, so you essentially bottom, market bottoms here. Again, bottom here, and kind of bottoming. You're looking at that kind of bottom here. We hit that level. Again, kind of a bottom of a larger correction. Not quite, because obviously we went down a little lower, but again, another spike. But I'm wondering, right, because we actually bottomed with that same level here. And I'm wondering if we will continue lower. Maybe we go up higher, and then we get some, like, large correction before continuing upwards. That's basically what I'm looking for. What's up, Jory? How's it going? But it's all just experimentation, right? Obviously, the VIX is going to go down. So the VIX going down, obviously SPX going up, right, is an inverse relationship. When the VIX spikes, and for those who don't know, the VIX is a volatility index. You get the most volatility from selling. So it makes sense, right? When you have volatility really high, it means the market's dumping. Sell-offs are obviously very, very quick and volatile. So when your VIX basically breaks this orange line that I have, that's when you're saying, okay, it's probably near a market bottom or near a major volatility point that could be near the bottom, right? So that's more or less what I'm looking at. I'm also wondering if maybe we get something like this, or maybe we get some up and just like overall sideways, like a larger bull flag, something like that. Obviously, guys, COVID. That's a black swan event. You can't really factor that into charts and analysis. Obviously, with the VIX, you can't, like the volatility here, maybe marking a potential bottom, you could, but it's really hard to look at something like that and say, okay, that was supposed to happen, because it's an event, right? It's not. It's a black swan event that no one could have predicted. It's not like the economy was if the economy is innovating over time, obviously the stock market is going to go up. But if the U.S. gets nuked tomorrow, it doesn't matter what the economy's doing. The stock market's going to tank, right? So it's kind of like an unpredictable event. Didn't know you could do that with charts. Yeah, I never really use it. I don't like to overlay charts because when you start comparing certain charts on certain time frames, it gets kind of weird. So let's try this too. Let's see if we can do this. See, because this is from 2008, it's going to be pretty, yeah. But you guys can see, like, Bitcoin also, and this is going to be kind of difficult to read. But does Bitcoin also bottom? Look at this. Okay, so again, this is going to be hard to read. and I'm comparing it with SPX just for now. My apologies, but this is going to be hard to read because this is why I don't like this overlay tool, because it's kind of like hard to control because I can't expand this because Bitcoin doesn't go back that far, right? Especially on the exchange that I chose. So Bitcoin bottoms, for those of you that can see this. So this volatility spikes upwards, Bitcoin bottoms at 3K, right? Bitcoin bottoms again at 3K, volatility spike upwards. And then again, Bitcoin bottoms at, what is this, 15,000, and we get that kind of nice little volatility spike here that's kind of equivalent with spikes in the past. So again, we're just using it for comparison. Basically, when you have a lot of volatility, it indicates a potential bottom. And just for this sake, we're going to move this line down here because it coincides with obviously like this. There's more relevance, right? So volatility. It is important to look at. Do I look at it every day? No. This is the first time I've looked at it in probably 4 or 5 months. But I just wanted to do some comparison for maybe some of you that didn't know or whatever. So let's keep moving forward. DXY. So this is kind of surprising me. I'm kind of surprised we pumped this hard. This is something I did not expect. Part of me thinks that this is still going to curl down. I think this is baiting people into shorting markets. They think we're going to collapse. Could we? Yes. Anything's possible, but this is pretty bizarre behavior. You have a very clean bear flag. You have a very nice breakdown. And now we have not only retested support as resistance, now we're broken back above that kind of support level. Now, there's a couple things, right? You could say that the support level could go all the way up to here, right? We could say this whole thing is technically support we broke down. Now we're retesting and retest all the way to the top. I don't like continuously changing, right? I don't like changing my, not necessarily bias, but just changing my chart to fit a narrative. I think that's where you fall in trouble with trading. But regardless, I am not really concerned until this breaks this level. Until we break 105, anything here, like anything in this kind of area, doesn't really matter to me. So I know a lot of people are jumping for joy, and they're like, oh, it was deviation. Look at this. You guys are idiots. Blah, 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 blah. Until you break 105, it means nothing. So any comment about the new Fitch report change? So just my own personal belief, we went from a AAA to a AA+. That's like going from getting a perfect score on a test to getting like a 95%, right? And I'll look this up real quick on my phone just to make sure that way I can give you guys like a more concrete definition. Sure, there's going to be a billion articles on this. Yeah, it indicates very low credit risk and indicates the issuer has strong capacity to repay. So guys, like, here's the deal. AAA and AA plus, I mean, yes, we downgraded, but it's not that big. Like, I think people are blowing it out of proportion. And yes, our grade's going to go down because we are accumulating more debt. And maybe other countries are starting to say, hey, what's the deal? But your AAA is like getting a perfect score. I think that it goes to AAA. It might be AAA plus. Regardless, the difference between them is so minuscule. Now, if we went from AAA to like AB or started getting into the Bs, like that's where, it's concerning. But the difference between a AAA and a AAA or a AA plus is like it's slightly so I'm reading it's slightly lower, right? So it's really not that big of a deal. I wouldn't be too concerned. For me, it's like the first stage, or you're seeing like the first steps into a new world order change. And I'm not trying to like Alex, what's that guy's name? Alex, whatever. You guys know the crazy white guy. I'm not trying to be like a conspiracy theorist or anything, but essentially you're seeing you're going to see a prolonged like debt collapse, right? So last time this happened in 2011, the SPX tanked 16%. So I think it matters. I mean, I don't really buy the SPX. I could care less. I think the SPX is great for long-term investing, but I'm not a long-term investor. So let's see, 2011. You said the SPX tanked how much? 16%? Well, it moved 20% here, but I mean, it's still an uptrend. I mean, to me, all this looks like is uptrend, sideways, up, still sideways, and then a massive run upwards. So, yes, in perspective, you could say, oh, as a short-term trader, maybe that was a good chance to short. But, like, here's the thing. There's a couple things in this chart that gave you an idea to short, and this is just right off the back of my head. You have a perfect head and shoulders here, right? Very nice neckline. Could have taken shorts here, could have added more here. You know, you would have made a decent chunk. This just looks like sideways movement. I mean, you could argue, yes, head and shoulders, but personally, no. This one's much more clearer. And then moving forward, like, it's perspective, right? We were up 106%, right? And I'm trying to give you this in a meaningful way that might change your opinion. We were up 106%. What is this? 2009. So this is after 2008 crash. We went up 106% with really no correction. This is sideways movement. I don't consider that a correction. With no correction. And then we correct 20%. Like, people, like, what do you expect? Do you expect the market to just continue always going up and never correcting? Because that's a sign of an unhealthy market. So this is a correction. Remember, 100% up, 20% down. And then after that correction, we move up another 100%. So in the grand scheme of things, had you bought the bottom perfectly, now you're up 221%, right? These corrections happen along the way, right? You have plenty of corrections where you get a 10% here, and maybe I believe this is 9 or 10% here, and you know, and then we continue upwards. So I think it really doesn't matter. I think that bond rating, unless it drops significantly, like, and I mean like the bond rating score. If the bond rating score drops significantly, guys, a AAA to a AA plus, that's like getting a perfect score on a test to getting a 95% on a test, which is still an A plus, right? So the difference is really not there. Now, are you starting to get out of A plus territory? Yes. And over time, we'll probably see that those bond ratings go down if we don't figure out our debt situation. But for now, it's really nothing to be concerned of. Like, it's like seeing a shooting star and screaming that it's a UFO. Like, no, it could be, but it's not. Alex Jones, that's who it is. Yeah, so Zinc, and this isn't to bash you, but I don't think that, you know, you could say, oh, the last time this happened, the market dropped 20%. Well, the market was up 106% to begin with. So it's kind of like, are you dropping because of this slightly lower score that doesn't matter? Or are you dropping because you're correcting after a 100% gain in the market over, you know, a 2-year period, which is pretty wild in this equity kind of index. Like, guys, the SPX average, yearly average, is like 8%, right? Actually, I think it might be a little bit higher. It's around 10%. So imagine every year you get 10% from the SPX on average. Like, over the last 100 years, you've made 10%. If in 2 years you can make 50% a year, right? Like, you're getting, you know, this big climb from, let's see, you're getting an 86% here. You know, you get 113, and then all the way until the end of 2015, we get a 200%. I mean, that's what, 6 years, 200%. That's, you know, you're looking at 40% a year, right? Ish. My math? Yeah, my math's kind of right. Almost. No, it's not. No, yes, it is. 4 times 6 is 24. So you're around, 40% gain a year. That's insane. Yeah. So short term, like, you know, you could look for the short play. But again, like, let's take things into perspective. The market's only up, 31% right now, 32%. So if you do like a proportion, you know, if we go up 100%, let's say every 100% we correct 20%. So if we go up 30% of that, what's 30% of 20%, which is 6%. So we should only drop 6%, right? And again, this is proportion, but look how this lines up. This drop brings us right back to this support level, perfect for a breakout, retest, continuation. So essentially you're looking at this, right? I think that makes sense. I think some people are leaning bullish, like short-term bullish. So now it's kind of weird because the market's kind of mixed. You have people still yelling for 12K, and then you have people yelling that the bottom's in. I'm one of those people that thinks the bottom's in, but I'm not married to that. Like, I'll continue buying if we break below 20K. The market needed to correct in that news as it pushed it over the edge. Probably. I wouldn't doubt it. But ultimately, we're still very, very bullish. There's really nothing bearish here. So, okay, moving on. DXY, I think I discussed this. I'm kind of surprised by the DXY's move. And the only reason I don't want to call this a descending wedge, which I know some people are going to say, oh, it's a descending wedge. It almost looks to me like a... Here, let's do this. Almost looks to me like a downtrend because you also don't have any divergence here, right? If this peak was here instead, like if it was equal or if it was higher, and obviously you have lower lows here, I'd say that's probably a descending wedge. But my gut says no. My gut says that this is a downtrend. Like this is just downtrending. We're bouncing. They're not going to make it easy, and then it's going to tank, right? That's just my personal belief, but could I be wrong? Sure. If I'm wrong, you guys can rub it in later. What's up, Magnus? How's it going? But yeah, Jason, you're absolutely spot on. The market needed to correct. The news obviously is helping with that correction. And Zinc, you're not wrong either. And I didn't mean to put you on blast. I'm just saying, like, perspective is huge, right? When you're up 100%, it makes sense to correct 20%. If we were down 30% and then went down further 20% because of a news-based event, then we could give that some argument to say, okay, maybe that news event had some more like affliction to it. So moving on. Tether, nothing's really changed for me here, guys. We look at a weekly chart. I open it up on Monday. Nothing's happened. Unfortunately, I'm going to keep moving forward. So Bitcoin, someone had asked me, what am I going to do or where's my buy zone? So if you're new here, first of all, if you're new here, I stream every Monday, Wednesday, and sometimes Fridays around 5 p.m. Eastern. I know today's a little earlier, but around 5 p.m. Eastern. And so for those of you that are new, I started buying basically all throughout this. So I bought this whole chunk. I bought once a week. Didn't matter what the price was. Didn't matter what time of day it was. Or actually, it did matter what time of day it was. So I had an automatic buy once a week, every Monday at noon. Automatic buy. The exchange is called Abra. If you're from the U.S., you can no longer use it, which kind of sucks. Anyways, I bought this whole thing for the last year, right? July to July. I have about $50,000 worth of money I put in. I think it's up to about 75 or 80 because I bought, some alts, I bought a lot of Bitcoin down here. I bought a lot of Bitcoin here. So a lot of those chunkier buys were lower. Now here's my thing. So let's say, okay, bottom's not in. We go back lower. We hit 17 again. Like, I think once we break 25, I'll start buying again. For now, I'm not going to keep buying because, one, I have plenty in DCA, guys. If my DCA does a 10 or 20x, like, I'm good, right? I'm not going to be greedy. I'm not going to risk because I will admit this. We are in a very weird economic situation. Obviously, there are people that are struggling. There's the risk of inflation. There's the risk of interest rates. Businesses are slowing down. But on the counterpart, there is so much sideline capital. When that capital is, and it's being deployed now, when it's fully deployed, like, the market's going up. There's no stopping it. So, but I know you could make the argument, but the debt, but the this, but the that. But you could also make a bullish argument too. It's a very weird and interesting state. And there's also people that, think, oh, we're about to go through a recession, even though we already went through a recession. Whether you like it or not, or whether you think we're going to go through another recession, we just went through a year-long recession. So, yeah, let's keep moving on. I guess even to close that thought, if we break below 25K, I'll start buying again. If we break above 32, I'll probably start buying again. 32 is obviously a very important macro level. But for me, mostly, I've already bought, right? I don't need to over risk, over leverage, and none of that. Like, I'll, part of one of my buys that I'm going to do, if Link ever does this, if Link breaks the $9 range, I'm going to probably double that position. Right? If Bitcoin breaks all-time highs, I'm probably going to add another $10, $20, $30,000 to that DCA position. So for me now, it's kind of like I'm locked in. I'm going to hold. If we break below 25,000, I'll DCA, once a week again until we continue upwards. If we never break below 25 again, then I have another plan for a couple more additions. But again, like in my opinion, I've bought a vast majority of the bottom so far. And I said for a whole year I was going to buy, maybe 2. And for now, because we're in a really weird spot, the weekly's kind of in a weird spot, I don't want to buy. I don't want to waste my buys at a potential top if we do go down, below 25 briefly, even if it's for a month or two, then I can scoop up another big chunk. You know what I'm saying? So I have my chunk. If you don't, I don't know what to tell you. It's kind of like, what's your risk? What's your, what are you willing to risk? And I'd say just DCA. I mean, we're still, what are we still, like 65% below all-time high? 60% below all-time high. So still not a bad time to buy. I'm just personally like, I'm already locked in, so I'm good. All right, let's go over a couple other things before I close out today. One thing I do want to remind you guys, and I'm not trying to just plug myself here, but you guys need to be careful what exchange you're using. A lot of these exchanges are enforcing KYC. I know, like exchanges like Bybit, and I don't know the full list off the top of my head. And also, get off at Binance US. If you're using Binance US, get off of it now. Seriously, it's getting ugly. For those of you who don't know, I think Binance US is on its way out the door. I don't even think you can withdraw to your bank account anymore. So get your coins off Binance US. But my main point is, if you're from the US or if you're from whatever country, make sure that you can legally withdraw, because these exchanges are making you KYC. So make sure that you can legally use the exchange, and the exchange isn't going to cut you off because they don't have, that authority to be used in that wherever you are, that location. So if in the US, for example, all of you guys know I'm affiliated with Bitget. If you're using Bitget, you can't really. I know some people are getting away with it, but I think Bitget enforced KYC. Right, they enforced KYC, and now they're saying, okay, if you're from the US, we can't let you trade. I think you still can on a VPN, but my whole point is I'm trying to protect you guys. Right, you guys need to make sure that whatever exchange you're using, make sure that you can use it in the location that you're in. Make sure that exchange will let you withdraw, or make trades or whatever, because I'd hate to see people come in here and say, oh, I lost it all because X exchange wouldn't let me trade because I'm from X place, right? That almost happened to one of my patrons, and thankfully he was able, I think the exchange let him withdraw, or he had a friend that said, oh, this is I can do it from my location or something like that. I forget what he did, but I'm really happy that he was able to do that. And of course, just to plug myself, I'm sorry, I have to. Bitget has a sister exchange called Coincatch. If you're from the US, you can use it legally. You can withdraw, you can trade futures, you can use leverage. It's backed by Bitget, so you're perfectly fine and safe. There's a link in the chat, and I think in the description if you're interested. You'll get fee reductions and deposit bonuses, all of that. But onward to the TA. So, a couple things. One, Anyone that bought this kind of fake out, I'm sorry. I did not think that this was a breakout. 29.5 is not a very harsh level of importance. I think 28,000 is. But one thing I am seeing, again, you have your volume still pretty much tapering off, still dropping. Still have low volume on today. It's a bit higher, yes, but it's still lower overall. Let's look at the 4 hour. So one thing I am looking for is this, where you have that inverted head and shoulders. Take longs here, long more here on that confirmation, and see what happens at 31. If we break 31, then add. But if we kind of reject, then I'll probably look to sell. Because as you guys know, we've had multiple months of nothing. But just in my opinion, I don't know what to think of this. This looks weird, right? It looks like a weird head and shoulders. But we'll see. See what happens when we get there. What about Bitcoin? Bitcoin dominance will go higher until Bitcoin breaks all-time highs and the bull market starts. Essentially. Another thing on the daily I like seeing, obviously with MACD, I really like seeing this flatten out. RSI, I really like seeing this kind of coming back to that mean. Again, guys, you're looking larger picture. We broke 28,000. We're essentially retesting it and going higher, right? So in a bullish environment, this is still bullish. We're still looking at, this overall uptrend here, retesting 28K as support, which we kind of have ish. We've slightly above bounced, but this is still an uptrend, still very bullish. Again, that's most of the reason why I'm still bullish, because I'm looking at the macro or looking at the larger scheme of things. I could care less about a 1 hour or a 2 hour here. The 4 hour, I am looking for a reversal pattern, but other than that, my mindset is still bullish based on that weekly uptrend. Again, the daily price action. So we'll see what happens, but that's all I have for today, guys. Sorry today was kind of short again. Again, there's really not much changing. I tried to give you guys kind of a slight trading setup. Again, with the 4 hour, looking for that inverted head and shoulders, but it looks a little weird to me now. Last night it looked really good. Before we kind of dumped and made some of these wicks, it looked okay. But now it's kind of looking a little weird. So keep an eye out for it. Maybe it'll play out. Again, you're looking for that consolidation, that right shoulder to form, and then that move upwards, confirming over the neckline. So other than that, I hope you guys have a nice weekend or a nice Wednesday. If I don't see you Friday, I hope you have a nice weekend.